Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome back to the Rebel, Reject, Create podcast. And today we're speaking to Rakesh Kanhai, a creative director and experienced designer who has just recently staged an event at the Pakhuis de Zwijger in Amsterdam, all about the role of psychedelics in creativity. And I thought to myself, yeah, we got to talk about that because if there's one stereotype about creative people, it's got to be drugs. But from what I saw of the event, which I unfortunately couldn't attend, was that I'm not sure that's what you were talking about. So, what's it all about? Psychedelics and creativity. Where are you coming from, Kesh?
Thank you so much for the introduction, David. I noticed within the creative scene in the world that there's a lot of mental health issues. It's almost inherent of being in that industry. And my old professor, not old in age, but old in previously when I studied, Mark Deuze wrote a book about creative jobs and how they can make you sick. What you love can also make you sick. And I noticed a lot of people in my where I teach and also the artists that I work with are using and abusing psychedelics. And there's a thin line between use and abuse.
Yeah.
And I'm somewhat familiar as well because I also dabble in psychedelics. I did ayahuasca, LSD, shrooms, all kinds of mind expanding drugs, which the human race is just inclined to experiment with. And I wanted to stage an event where we destigmatize, but we also make aware, create awareness and talk about the importance of setting, cultural context, and the spiritual aspects of these drugs. So it was about drugs, but we weren't really approaching it as drugs. More, we were more sort of navigating what it can do for artists, especially in the context of this mental health crisis,
Right.
and what it should and should not be, and how you can use it responsibly.
Okay.
That was my
Because
intention.
right. Well, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of recent studies linking, microdosing of, in particular, psilocybin to incredibly positive mental health developments,
Yes,
helping people break out of OCD cycles, all sorts of interesting stuff. So, where are you coming from on this?
I'm coming from. This is a personal journey for me. So my first psychedelic experience was ayahuasca, which is somewhat like
Yeah.
very high entry level way of going in. And it was a really weird circumstance that I would never. Um, I didn't ask for it. It came to me, but I did answer and I did do it, and it immediately healed so many parts that I was struggling with as a human, as an artist, that I became an enthusiast first. I went back and did more ayahuasca and worked on myself, but I also quickly noticed that there's also a pitfall. There's also a way to look for looking for answers can also become a hobby.
Ah,
And then I one time had a, I don't want to say bad trip, I want to say very educational trip, where I did ayahuasca and sort of got my ass kicked by plant medicine because the message was very clear: you already had your homework, why are you coming back to school?
wow.
And I was beat up really hard. And then I implemented all the insights that I already had in my lifestyle. So
Hmm.
that's what we call integration.
Yeah.
And that's somewhat that made all the difference. So that's also why I wanted to do this, because I was a user, but I was also an abuser, especially with microdosing. Microdose can easily become mesodose
Hmm.
without becoming macro dose, because that's what a lot of people really fear, the hero dose, the really letting go. And then I had developed this theory that if you only do microdosing, just it can very much help you, especially with the things you already stated. It did also help me, but it can also become just another addictive habit,
Right.
just another thing to do. And so I'm very happy and thankful to say that I've had my hero dosages. I've had several. I've had my ass kicked by LSD. I've had my ass kicked by shrooms, and I've had my ass kicked by ayahuasca. Um, by the way, the LSD ass kicking was the worst. And then I wanted to state the importance of integration, behavior, being sober, but also respecting the spiritual and cultural context of these things. So, psilocybin, for instance, right now is extracted from the Mazatec tribe, which was the first tribe to ritualistically, ceremonially use this, and it was a very high spiritual, like a very spiritual community. And so, right now, in Pakhuis de Zwijger, I talked about the commodification
Right.
of these plant spirit medicine, where we extract the substance from its cultural context,
Right.
and that is a form of neocolonialism that I wanted to address.
Yeah.
So that's why we honored where these medicine came from first and foremost, and try to not use it in a capitalist fashion where we basically use it as a productivity tool.
Yeah.
So I came up with this. I like talking to AI about how should I do this. I was just spitting all my thoughts, and then he said basically the same stuff that is designed to make you think about the system and critically ask how the system works is now helping you function within that system. So there's a reason a lot of people are suffering from mental health issues when doing creative jobs. And I don't think that psilocybin should be just another Red Bull.
Yeah.
It should be us asking ourselves, what are we doing? And is it the right thing to do? How can I take care of myself?
Yeah.
And that is basically what that was the extent of the program, was a panel discussion
Right.
where we sort of navigated the space, what it can do for us. So it's a very, it's a way to temporarily open the veil of perception, the
Yeah.
doors of perception, and connect to a more uh, collective consciousness. So it has a lot of potential for creatives, but at the same time, if it's used as a productivity tool, if it's used as just another way to escape reality or cope with reality, I don't think it's meant to be used that way.
Right. I mean, I think historically, a lot of people have essentially been self-medicating with many different forms of narcotics, not just psychedelics, um, because of that hurt, because of that damage, because of you know some kind of psychological ailment. And then the risk is, I guess, that that becomes a habit, and then it's
Yes,
not about the benefit at all. It's about the thing itself, about the doing.
yes. It's about going back for your fix and not your medicine.
Right.
It's like I've been to a lot of ayahuasca retreats before finding the place for me, which is very much steeped in culture. And I also noticed seekers, people that are um, looking for something that they already sort of like they know,
Mm.
but they're looking for it outside of themselves, and it's the
Right.
answers are already within. And these things are tools to help you understand yourself, but the work starts after the
Right.
journey.
No,
After the journey is really, it's really nice.
yeah.
Doing ayahuasca, it can be very confronting, but it can also be very amazing. Especially like LSD, psilocybin, it can give you an amazing distance to yourself, and that can also be addictive.
Yeah. So I
Not
want
as
to talk
quick,
about,
not as quick as cocaine and all those other stuffs,
yeah, but it
obviously,
can.
but it can. And then there's also, you know, one of my panel members, Arno Adelaars, big shout out to him. He was talking about Aldous Huxley. No, not Aldous Huxley. The LSD guy, the Bicycle Day guy. I forgot his name.
Yeah, yeah.
That guy. He was talking about that. He said, while using these substances, there is a chance of you learning that you are a child of God. But there's a problem when you start to think you are the only child of God.
Right, right. So let's talk about what you mentioned earlier, integration. Right? Because you
Yes,
said, okay, so you have the experience, but that's almost not the most important part. It's what you do next.
yes.
So what are we missing? Why doesn't that happen?
Because we're very, all the substances we know are productivity tools or coping tools. Society is fucked up. We don't have a healthy work-life balance. We are constantly looking for thrills. We're constantly focused outwards. So, can you repeat your question real quick?
Yeah, so why aren't we routinely integrating? What's
Yes, yes,
going on?
yes. So, when you remove a substance from its cultural context, uh, there's always the threat of it being commodified, of it being integrated in what you are already doing.
Hmm.
So, integration is about self reflection, it's about coming to terms with all the bullshit you believe you should be or are and changing that, but changing it from a level of basically baby steps. So, for instance, it's like going to the gym. Going to the gym is not a one-time thing. You don't go to the gym and say, "Ah, I understand fitness," and then become a different person. You have to consistently do it and
Yeah,
dedicate yourself to a pattern. So integration is basically learning. So going on a psychedelic journey is learning there's a gym. Integration is going to the gym, going to it. That's for me a metaphor to explain the difference between an
yeah,
experience and a change in behavior. An experience can lead to a change in behavior. Yeah, it's the difference between learning about a gym and having that aha, I can, oh my god, I can change my life, and actually waking up the next day
yeah.
and doing something about
Doing
it.
the work. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
because this I think is indeed the thing. Even with just being creative, there's a lot of people who think, oh well, I now know how to DJ or I know how to play guitar, I can sing or I can paint. Um, Now I'm a rock star.
exactly.
But if you
It's
don't turn up every day and keep on doing it, nothing's going to
exactly.
happen.
Exactly, and I also think this is a sign of the times. There's a phrase Gen Z people I sort of like use it a lot to describe them is "Wake me up when I'm famous." And there's also a phrase where I come from, and it's "Keep doing dope shit until somebody notices."
Yeah,
And there's a different in mindset there. So I think we are, because of consumerism, we are all expecting happiness. We are all expecting quick fixes,
yeah,
uh, and that's just, especially with craftsmanship, creativity. It's just not the way it works. So
yeah,
creativity is about getting outside of your own way to do, to be in the moment, to receive. And psychedelics can be a tool in learning how that works,
yeah.
but it should never not be also about the work. It should not
Right.
be, that's the
Yeah,
that's the difference. And I speak I speak about this as a man that has been sober for several weeks now, because I also used to abuse weed drops, psilocybin, meaning that I wasn't a junkie, but I was a high functioning junkie. I don't know how to say this,
yeah,
but I was using weed on a daily, sort of like as a beta blocker. But in um, when deciding to do the Pakhuis de Zwijger program, I was like, I have to practice what I preach. And so I stopped completely with everything. And right now, I have the ability through meditation in my dreams to enter those spaces, because these plants, there's a reason, like it connects to a neuroreceptor that you already have.
yeah.
And there are natural ways of getting high. I'm talking about breathing exercises,
Yes.
yoga, meditation, ice baths, floating.
Yeah.
You can even literally hallucinate in a floating tank. So I am now practicing what I preached. And what I wanted to say about that is that do these things, learn the lessons, but then integrate them into a lifestyle. And I'm not saying I'm never going to do those things ever again, but I'm going to try to never abuse those things, to never make it a habit, because
Right.
that's when you are a creative and you are in need of something, you you don't actually own your own instrument. You know what I'm saying? Like, You,
That's a nice way of putting it. I like that.
yeah, you need to own your own instrument. And if it's dependent on something, uh, I believe that you will not be able to make the magic you should be making.
Right. And so, I mean, I think it's amazing that psychedelics open these doors. And that's what this research is showing now, that literally there are physiological changes in the brain,
Yes,
that
yes,
joining
permanently.
synapses.
Yeah.
But essentially, what you're also saying is that you don't actually have to.
Okay, so now I'm gonna give a personal opinion.
Yeah.
You have to once, because I gotta say, man, if I had never done these things, I think my journey towards self-reflection, my goal of attaining self-realization, it would not be as fast, as efficient, or as great as it has been. So do these things, but do them with the right with the right setting, with the right context, in the right time, and also, um, basically, technically speaking, I think you only need to smoke one joint in order to understand the information the plant has to give you, and then right after you can just meditate on what you experienced. But if you have never done it, I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, if you spend like 15 years meditating,
Probably. I've heard about gurus that smoked weed and nothing happened because
yeah,
they're already on a higher frequency from the get go. So, but if I look at myself, like I'm from Amsterdam, from the city, surrounded by routers and connectivity and people. And so it's really hard to, um, in a modern time, it's really hard to connect to your natural spirituality, and these things can help. They have helped me, but also there's risks.
yeah,
There's people that are prone to psychosis. There are people that are that should not be doing these things. So that's what I'm saying. Now I'm getting personal. This is my personal opinion. I believe you could do these things in a very not controlled, because you sort of lose control, but let's say in a safe environment and
yeah.
in a safe way, just to understand what the plant has to teach you. Um, but there's no need to keep going back. That's what I'm saying.
All right,
So
cool.
that's why I got my ass beaten, because I already learned the lesson and I just wanted to sort of go back to school uh, another time, just because I kind of school's really cool and it's really nice to space. It's really
Yeah,
nice to see things that you normally don't see and experience things that you normally don't experience. But there's also, I believe, if you just do those things, then maybe the hard way, raw dogging life, just becomes harder. I've had anxiety when I stopped with weed. I've had so many nightmares because when you do weed, you don't have REM sleep. When you don't
yeah,
have REM sleep, you don't process emotions and stuff like that. So I had to sort of, um, how do you say that? Backtrack
yeah.
what I didn't do and
Yeah.
process it in my sleep. And
You have to go
now
and catch up.
catch up is what I was looking for. Yeah. So I caught up on a lot of crazy nightmares, fears that I didn't process, and I'm feeling really balanced and happy. I'm having great dreams now. So my dream space is now the space where I space, and life is the place where I am a grown up that
Right.
has healthy ways of dealing with things. Because personally, weed was an anxiety tool that also led to anxiety, because
Yeah.
I would rather get stoned on the couch and watch something that I already saw before, like Seinfeld or whatever, than go out there and do new shit.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
I do that a lot, actually, and it has opened up more doors and opportunities and things in my life. So for me, it's also about growing up.
Cool.
Growing up means don't just cope with life, live life.
Brilliant. Kesh, I think that's a fantastic reflection for us to stop on. Thanks so much for sharing. And is there
Thank you for
anywhere
asking.
that, cool. Is there anywhere that you could refer people to if they want to find out more?
And you can just contact me, and I can point you out in
All
some
right, good.
directions.
Yeah, we'll share some links
But
in the show notes.
but I just want to say one thing: um, don't go looking; let it find you.
All right. Kesh, thanks so much for coming on to the show, man.
Thank you, bro, for asking me.